Starting this month, the Metropolitan Police will be sharing body cam footage to 12 panels made up of community members to review and give feedback on police's use of force across every London borough. The Met say that this is just one of the initiatives to listen to and rebuild trust with Londoners. However, after watching the video, which I'll add to the end of this report, I've found at least one major flaw. The new panels, which will be called PEPs, as in Police Encounter Panels, are said to be chaired by community leaders and area commanders to discuss incidents, particularly those which may have caused community concern. Now, although reviewing police body cam footage, I find it hard not to see this as a virtue signalling exercise which will allow community leaders to see police vetted and approved videos that in general will likely show the Met in a good light, whilst throwing a few of their staff under the bus in the process to make it look like they are in fact taking some action. Even in the Metropolitan Police's own statement, it says, the PEPs will review encounters, including those where police officers have used force, with panel members being shown body-worn video footage where appropriate. Now, where appropriate simply means that they will pick and choose what footage to show, no doubt citing ongoing investigation to keep the worst examples hidden. What's incredibly interesting about this article is it's not once do they mention black, BAME, ethnic, minority or diverse. But the panel is made up from, what I can tell, almost entirely black, BAME and ethnic members. In fact, they only mention minority in the video, and that's once. But as I say, almost the entire panel seems to be made up of what they call minority group representatives. They only show close-up shots of those specially chosen members and wide shots of white folk next to the minority group reps, and also only have one member from one of the minority groups talking, whilst the police talking are all white folk. Now, I don't want this video to turn into a race baiting or opening up myself to people who think they can use this to call me out as being racist, because that's the easiest accusation to make, and pathetic. But my point here is that there seems to be a lack of white European or Eastern European group representatives in this group. In the video, I count at least 6 BAME background. Granted, this could be that there are 6 white folk at the table, but if that's the case, then why not be inclusive and show them all, to show what a diverse range of people you have on their review panel. The Metropolitan Police say the aim of the PEPs is to improve how the Metropolitan Police polices London. If have not quite gone right in an encounter, community members will be able to make recommendations based on their own lived experiences and knowledge. They can also identify good practice that should be shared more widely. Good practice such as treating everyone with respect regardless of colour, religion, sexuality, you mean. What, you need a panel to tell you that? They say that learning from the meetings will be fed back to individuals, the local police teams and pan-London police teams like the Met's Task Force, Specialist Firearms Command and Roads and Transport Policing Command, to ensure the organisation as a whole learns from local incidents. In addition to regular meetings, they are going to arrange ad hoc meetings when a specific encounter has occurred which the panel wishes to review in quick time, or which the Metropolitan Police believes it would be beneficial for a community to have a more immediate understanding of. In other words, highly publicised incidents they can't get out of, or incidents the police feel they can explain away. Commander Helen Harper, Head of Profession for Met Crime Prevention, Inclusion and Engagement, said, "We have developed the police encounter panels as another way to listen to Londoners and identify where we could do better in the areas of our work where we face most criticism. We also want to work out where we're getting things right so we can replicate that positive action across the Met." And what she means is listening to certain Londoners, to the ones they are trying to persuade they're not racist. The new panels will help us build stronger relationships with people in every London borough, particularly with those who have not previously been part of a police review group. We depend on the trust of the people we serve, and we know we are so much more effective if we are listening and engaging with them. We're here, we're queer, no, we're here, we're changing, we're learning. We will not stop working to be the service Londoners need and deserve. So what they seem to be forgetting is that London isn't just made up of BAME folk. The police have acted inappropriately towards both black and white people, but the incidents involving BAME folk are highly publicised, far more than white folk, mostly due to this whole BLM thing. Now, I can guarantee you that if Sarah Everard was black or Asian, there would have been far more uproar than there was, and I would even go as far to say it would likely have ignited the kind of protests we saw over George Floyd, who wasn't even from the UK. Now, I'm not knocking the fact that police are supposedly trying to build bridges, but in doing so, they are alienating other people, other groups. If they simply referred back to treating everyone with respect, without fear or favour, and upholding people's human rights, then the issue will be fixed. But that'll never happen, and these platitudes offered are simply to appease the BAME communities and are not designed to fix policing as a whole. Until the recruitment process is overhauled, the checking system while people are serving as police to ensure that they're fit to hold that office throughout their employment, the secrecy behind misconduct hearings, and the training to ensure that the core values of policing are drilled into every copper's head instead of the values of the thin blue line versus the public, then we won't see any real change. We won't see things getting better, and we will continue to see the diversion that's been planned and implemented by the government carried out by its own private, politically motivated army of drones. This whole PEPs idea is not going to fix policing. All this is going to do, in their eyes I assume, is to change the way that the BAME communities see the police through filtered and specifically picked out situations for them to review, whilst everybody else still gets the raw end of the stick.
So PEP is a police encounter panel, and we have members of the community come together with police officers on a BCU and work with the police to review the positives that have gone on and also the areas where we can improve how we police.
My name is Tony Fawole. I'm a faith and community leader in Newham, and also an insight from my side of the community as to how the police work. I think opening up an initiative like this will definitely enable the community to understand the complexities of how police work, and maybe able to have a way of trying to also engage with my community as well as to sometimes how we can manage issues when they come up.
So police encounter panels can view a much wider range of encounters, so it's a much broader use with our community monitoring groups that's still really important. What we want is to hear community voices, and we also want communities to go out to have an insight into the complexities of policing. But also we want to be influenced to understand how different communities, particularly minority ethnic communities, are both impacted by policing, but also how we can improve interactions and build trust and confidence, which we know there's a big gap between different ethnic groups.
If we can maintain the momentum we started today, being able to open up how they work, the intricacies of their operations, and we also as community leaders and faith group leaders could go back to our communities and say, you know what, we've been to this more or less an event tonight, and this is what we saw, this is our experience, and we feel that we can actually work with the police, we can engage with them, they can see where we're coming from, we can see where they're coming from, and see how we can actually strike a balance. I think we can actually make a improvement and inroad into ensuring that we have a very progressive relationship between the two communities.